Hello. Do you remember last year when we made the macrame plant holder? My idea of a perfect craft. Easy to make, easy to pick up, not too expensive but fantastically useful. But macrame is not just for plant pot holders. This is the one we made. And here's a slightly more complicated one with some beads added. But as well as that, this lovely owl behind us is also a macrame thing I made. And macrame can be used for decoration as well as practical. And today we're going to go all decorative because we are going to make macrame feathers. You can put these onto a bag, you can put these onto your ears, you can put these around your neck. You can do whatever you like with these. And they are really simple to make, but we just need a little word about our materials. So something else that we can do with them is, again, reusing something that we did last year when we made these. A stick, so getting something natural and keeping with natural looking materials. Yes, I know that one's blue, I'm coming back to that. But these are made from cotton string and making a nice looking decoration. These are right on trend at the moment as well, if you want to be doing that. But for the actual feather itself, you need some kind of string or yarn. So macrame traditionally uses fairly thick string like this, but you can totally make this out of wool or crochet cotton or anything you like. When you're doing it, you need to just fluff up the edge and see what is going to happen. So if you can see, when I fluffed up the edge of this one, it's really nicely separated and fluffy. When I do it with this one, I'm getting a very different look. It's staying spindly like that. Now both of them are fine, you just need to know what you want. If you want a fluffy looking feather, you want to choose something like that. If you want a more separate, maybe raggedy looking feather, you want that. Obviously we've also got a colour thing going on, so you can use a more naturalistic looking colour for a feather or not. You can do either one. So you decide what you want to do. Crochet, cotton, yarn, wool, any of those things. So as well as having a little bit of this kind of thing that we're going to put there, somebody's just coming to join there. The thought of yarn, the thought of chasing bits of wool have so totally attracted somebody here. But I'll just carry on telling you about what we are going to need, because we don't need much more beyond that really. We need our yarn, we need scissors, and you're going to need some fairly strong stick scissors today. Okay, so you're going to need scissors because there's a fair amount of cutting going on, and you need something to help you fluff. You can use a normal hairbrush. This brush belongs to somebody. When this somebody was bought, we thought from the home she was going to be long haired, so we brought a brush for her because her mummy was long haired and we thought she was going to be a long haired cat, and she never grew the long hair. So actually we haven't used this. So a cat brush is great. All the mummies out there, you totally know what this is. It's a knit comb, and thankfully my children have got a little bit too old, even though I'm still a teacher, for that to be relevant. So a knit comb is also good. So something to brush with is what we're going to need. String, scissors, something to brush with. If you want, you can use a ruler or you can just guess, those kind of things. Now if you want to, you can see that these ones both have beads added to them. And if you want to look for a bead, you need to be looking for one with a big hole in the middle. Doesn't matter what it looks like, that's your taste, but the hole needs to be big enough to get 2 strands of your yarn through, whether you're choosing string or wool. So I'll see you on the other camera. Oh my goodness, somebody likes the thought of chasing a bead. I'll get rid of my helper, I'll get us on the other camera, and I will show you how to make a gorgeous macrame feather. So here are our feathers a little bit closer up so that you can see where we're heading. And today I'm going to choose to make one out of string. So this is really ordinary string, nothing fancy, nothing, it's just, you know, totally a normal ball of string. Now you need to get a long piece of string, and I'm going to go for a 30cm one, and this will give you a smaller kind of feather, about this kind of size. But you need to get your string and you need to fold it in half and put it onto a surface like this so that it's folded around and it's making this kind of shape.
and mine is 30 centimetres. You can make whatever you want. This will be the length of your feather. Actually, make it a little bit longer because you will be chopping bits off, but that's where you're going. You then need to get yourself lots and lots and lots of little pieces of string, and these are 15 centimetres, so they're half whatever this is. So you've done 30 centimetres like that, and then you've folded it in half, making that 15 centimetres, and you've now got loads of other 15 centimetre strips. Cut those, ready. You'll see as you go through, I recommend watching the whole thing first, and you'll see as we go through that you can adjust the size of this if you need to by the things that you've got. And you need to get 2 of those to start with because we're working in 2s as we go along. So we've got our 2 smaller ones, and we're doing the same thing here. We're going to fold it in half, echoing that same shape there, keeping those more or less the same. And you're going to put it underneath. So this is our long middle section of our feather that we're going to pull together like that. And we're going to put this one underneath it like that. So just pause to look at that for a moment. Both strings are going underneath the other string. I'm pulling that one up. They're just sitting there. They're not fixed in any way at the moment. I'm now going to get the other string and do the same thing, folding it in half like that. But I'm now going to do it the other way. So you see how the loop is on that side and the straight bit is on that side, and we're going to do the other way around this time. Loop here, straight there. I'm going to get those 2 and put them through. Okay, and now I know when you're doing macrame that this is the bit where you're like, what? So I'm going to do it again so that you're absolutely certain, because basically you're only learning one and then repeating it again and again and again. So we've got loop on one side, loose bits on one side. We've got this one the other way round, loop, loose. We're going to put those 2 loops, those 2 loose ones inside that loop. And then we're going to get those 2 and pop them through there. So that's where you need to absolutely have a little look at the moment. So the loop has got 2 strings going through it, and the loop has got 2 strings going through it. And then I'm simply going to pull. And I've got it like that. I will show you that again if you're thinking, what? Okay, but if I just get the original feather over, you will see that this is what you're creating down the middle here. I know that doesn't look like that yet. There's more to go. Okay, so we're getting our strings in 2s, and we're folding them in half, both of them, so that they've got a loop and they've got a loose end. Now, before you do the next one, you've got to decide what you want to do. This feather has got its knots alternately. So we've got a knot there, and then there, and then there, and then there, and then there. This one has got its knots. Oh, I'll show you the other one because it's a bit clearer now on the colours. With this one, all of its knots are in a row. And it's absolutely personal preference. Personally, I actually like this one. Okay, but it's personal preference as you do it. Okay, so if you want to do them all in a row, you do it exactly the same way. So we're going to start with our loop on that side and our loose ones. We're going to put that, we're going to pull that one through. We're going to push it through those ones. And then we're going to pull both of the 2 ends. And this knot side is now in line with the other one. Okay. Now, the good thing about macrame is that we're not gluing anything. So if you weren't happy with that and you wanted it to be the other way, you could always think, oh, right, okay, I'm putting that one underneath there. I'm going to put this one here. And I'm going to pull like that. And this time, you've ended up with the knot on the other side. You see how you've got that there and you've got that there. It's absolutely up to you which way round you want it to look. Okay, either alternate ones or all in a row. I do think it looks a tiny bit neater when it's all in a row. So I'm going to stick with keeping it the same way every time. So my loop goes underneath the main string. my other loop goes underneath the 2 loose ones and gets pulled through. But you can just take it off because this is no gluing. There's no gluing involved at all. So you're just going to go round. Now don't worry how high you go up here, because you can still keep moving this like this the whole way. So if you want a giant loop for hanging because you were putting it on a big stick, that's fine. Or if you want a smaller one, go with some sort of average sized one. That's probably about 3 centimetres, 4 centimetres, and then go down. Now keep going all the way down, doing that exact same thing until you get all the way along. So when we've got near to the end, with about the same distance on the side you want your feather at the bottom part there, so probably about 2 centimetres, we're now going to do the bit that takes the longest time, untwizzling them. Now, if you've got very long bits on here that are going to be too long, it's a lot easier at this point if you just start your trimming. So, cut it down into a vague feather shape, but you don't need to worry about being perfect at this stage. And your bottom part down a little bit. So you can see that that's gone from being just straight bits coming down as it was when they were straight like that to a vague curve downwards. Now at this point you need to untwizzle, and this is the bit that takes the time. So you're going to find every single string in there and you are going to untwizzle it. You're going to pull it until your strands are separate. Now the wool takes longer than the string at this stage. So I'm using my nails because I usually have quite long nails. You could invoke a cocktail stick or any little pointy thing and just pull each one apart, not spending too much time stressing about it. Just pull them apart like that. When you get to that stage, you're then going to comb them. So I'd started to do it on that other side. Now you'll get bits falling off, you'll get bits sticking out. Don't stress it. Just keep doing that. You may find that your cat brush is a little bit too harsh. You also might find it gives a fantastically fluffy look like that one. For the knit comb, really nicely separated them because I really poked it in there and then pulled them up. Be careful that you're not pulling it off because it's not fixed in any way now. You've kind of got to get the thing between being not too tough and and still being tough enough. So get it in there, do it in sections, don't try and do it all at once, and just pull until you are feathering all of those bits. When they're all pulled out and they're all brushed out to be as feathery as you can be bothered with, you need to get those bottom ones and pull them out as well as you're doing that. So on the bottom there, those bottom ones are going to form the bottom of your feather, so make sure that those are really separated and adjoining the ones on the side. And it takes a lot of combing, so comb, 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 comb. Then you need to decide to do it into your feather shape. Now obviously feathers are all different shapes. Some of them are very round at the top and pointy, some of them are long and thin. You need to decide what you want. You could draw out a feather shape onto a piece of paper, put it on and try and mimic it, but I actually think you're probably better just going around remembering that you want your top to be pointy, your sides to be bigger, and your bottom to come down into a point. I think it's a bit like trimming pom-poms. You could probably just, trim for the rest of your life doing that, but just do it until you're more or less happy. If you want, you can put your bead on there. I've had to hide the bead to stop Peggy running off with it, but you just can slip your bead on there at that point. And then it's a bit sort of addictive. You find yourself fluffing as much as you can go. But then you will end up with your gorgeous macrame feather. With this one, I just used 2 different colours. So I started with the pink and then moved on to the yellow. I actually should have done more pink, shouldn't I? Because that's not enough. Maybe I could have put some pink at the bottom as well for that. You can experiment around with those ideas. So now that you've made your feather, you're going to have a lovely afternoon combing your feather, brushing and trimming
a macrame feather until it looks exactly like you want it. For them going around the basket, I actually threaded a ribbon through. So the picture that I was using in the publicity has a ribbon threaded through it, so you could just see them differently. But of course it depends on the size of your loop as to where you decide you want to hang it. For these two, with the colouring, I decided I would have a go at dyeing them because they are cotton, both of these two, in cotton string, and I thought, I wonder how they do it, and I used food colouring. Now you can see that it hasn't come out in some sort of professional dyed way like this one is. This was using red and pink wool that was already that colour. But with these ones I just dipped them in. I have to admit, trying for that ombre effect. So I put that into the bottom and allowed it to soak up. I have to say it's mixed. You probably really need to use the Dylon dyes rather than food colouring. It's just that I only had food colouring, so I thought I'd have a go. It was this string that I started with, so you can see it's changed a little bit colour, but you could have fun with that. I think probably there's more to be done with the ombre dyeing, and I'm going to get myself some dyes, and we might be back to a video involving using those in a little while. Here we go. I will see you next week for some more kind of crafts. Bye.